a lot of returning firepower coming back. So Coach Schuler does a great job with the wrestling program, and he'll have a huge Ed Kressel Wrestling Classic in January, looking at about 32 teams.
Wow.
And it'll be one of the nicest tournaments around. So it's really a lot of great things looking forward to this winter, but we got some success to finish up in the fall first.
Yeah, that's true. We got good runs here volleyball, like we said, have heated up, and football, it seems like it's getting back. The Graham game was tough, so this is really the prove-it game tonight.
It is, and it's important. But I really hope, no matter what happens tonight, we positioned ourselves to be in the playoffs, but you're really playing, like you guys said in the preface there, this one kind of means something in terms of getting to host home field and almost guarantees a home game, at least one home game in the playoffs.
And, being here in the Gene, it's a tough place to play. I mean, the fans are always really excited here, and when we get some playoff action going, I think it'll be good for us.
Yeah, one thing we really tried to work on, and a lot of people have worked hard, is to Mr. Skeen does a great job with the band and the cheerleaders in front of the student section. But, adding some Coach Chris did a great job with his sponsor banners and having the list of seniors over there add some color to it. So, and of course, it's all about the fans and, hopefully create an environment where people do not look forward. We want to be hospitable and be good sports, but, we want people to see this game on, when they have to travel to the Gene, as Mark so fondly calls it. That they feel a little bit intimidated. So, and again, that's a tribute to all the people that kind of put the time and effort in to make it important.
So does that mean it's stuck now to the Gene?
Well, that's up to you guys. I mean, you seem to reach more people than listen to me. So
I don't know. You've been making a streak out here.
Well, we hope to continue that tonight. That's for sure.
So thank you for joining us, Mr. Harper.
Well, guys, you all do a great job. We appreciate everything you do, and you've become quite the. I'd invite everyone to come out to Buffalo Wild Wings on Wednesday nights for Bearcat Sports Chat. When this thing started, I had no idea really what to expect and didn't have the privilege of knowing Dylan or Mark yet, but they've really put some time and effort into it. We have a great time at B-Dubs, and, when get listeners tweeting in and asking questions, and it just makes for a great environment. It's a great opportunity for fellowship, and certainly with them being one of our sponsors, they give us some of that back, and it's just a good fit, and you all have done a great job, as I always like to tell you. I don't want that to go to your heads, but we're lucky to have both of you.
You keep telling Mark that too many times. We're going to have to get a bigger booth for his
head. You had all those volunteer fans on this week with Austin Davidson.
Thank you for that.
I had nothing to do with it, I can assure you. But I'm not sure that's going to help the product on the field too much. But down in Knoxville, but I'm glad Mark was able to get a little bit of relief.
I like the little veiled shot there. That worked out. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And Mr. Harper will be busy the rest of the night, probably, as he goes down to get ready for this big game between the Cats and the Hurricanes. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We'll have our storylines for tonight's game, the weather, and key matchups as we'll continue the Bearcat Kickoff Show.
Bearcat fans, following every Virginia high school home football game, visit Shoney's at Exit 5 for their world-famous breakfast bar. Serving until midnight, Shoney's is a proud sponsor of Bearcat Athletics. Listen to Virginia high school football on your computer or mobile device at Spreaker.com/BearcatRadio.
Welcome back to the Bearcat Kickoff Show. Dylan Hutton with Mark Harr as we're getting really, really close to kickoff. It's 6:54 p.m., and let's go ahead and continue here and go to the storylines for tonight's game.
The Bearcats look to continue its push to host a playoff game. We've talked about it all night long, Dylan. Number 5 versus number 4, taking number 2 in conference play. There's just a lot of implications to tonight. Number 2, Kelly Ford, he's been a madman this season. He's done it all, and he's been able to keep Marion undefeated. Is it going to be enough tonight for him is a real question. Another thing, it's the revenge game. You mentioned earlier the away team doesn't win this game very often, and the Cats were defeated by the Hurricanes 41-13. It's senior night here at the Gene, and I feel really good about the Cats' chances tonight.
Yeah, the crowd already here getting ready for the team to enter the stadium as we go ahead and move to tonight's weather. And, Mark, it feels pretty good outside.
So far, it feels pretty good. From what I read earlier, it looks like we're going to be about 62 about kickoff time, and then fall down to about mid to lower 50s. Looking more and more like snow on Sunday than earlier in the week.
Thank goodness. We're just worried about tonight, though. That's true. So, Mark, go ahead and give us one positional battle for tonight's game that you're going to be watching.
You know, I mentioned it earlier in the game, and with Jamie's success last week throwing the football, I think this wide receiver versus corner matchup, Virginia High's wide receivers versus Marion's corners, are going to be the biggest X factor in this game. The speed of Virginia High's wide receivers versus the lack of speed by the Marion.
So that'll do it for the pregame show, and we talked to Coach Sidner earlier this week for the keys to the game and a couple of other questions for him. We'll have kickoff versus Marion coming up next. Here's Coach Sidner and our interview with him earlier this week. He's the co-defensive coordinator for the Cats. And so now we're happy to be joined by co-defensive coordinator Reese Sender.
So you know this defense continues to be the X factor, the crowd mover of this team. You're allowing just 13 points a game. How have they progressed since last year?
Like Coach Chris always said, we want to talk about this year. But I think this is a really good group. They pride themselves on playing defense. Our biggest thing is we try to keep zeros on the board. You know, we don't want teams to score. And they truly get upset, and they're perfectionists. When we make a mistake, they'll come over and ask, what are we doing? How can we fix it? So it's really up to them. It's just a group of kids that we have. They want to go out there and they want to play. They want to keep kids out of the end zone. And I give them that credit because we talk about, if we give up a big play, the biggest thing, make the tackle, don't let them in the end zone because we're going to get another down, and we might make a play. And sometimes we'll come up with a fumble, come up with an interception, things like that. Usually when teams drive down to the other end, we hold them to a field goal. And we have one of our specialists, Colton, who's always seemed to come up with a block or something to keep them off the scoreboard. So that's big for us.
How is this group molded together to form a stout defense?
I think it really helps that they've played. They've played with each other for last couple of years. And, again, the biggest thing for them is they want to do well. They want to keep teams out of the end zone, keep them from rushing against us, things like that. But I think Rose is our leader, and they feed off him, and that's the biggest thing. Rose, he does a lot for us defensively, calls the defense, get us lined up, and that's big. That's huge for us.
This is a Marion team, going back talking about them just a little bit. They like to try to take the lid off of defenses. They're going to try to pound it out with forward. How do you manage that they've got weapons to get the ball downfield and they have the ability to push it downfield, but the number one priority, I would imagine, has got to be stopping forward. But how do you keep the lid really still on the defense?
Well, it's all about preparation. A lot of teams that we play, they run the ball, and I'm always yelling at my corners or our safety that don't get beat deep, because a lot of teams, they want to set you up with the run, and they'll run, pound, and then they go over top. And I give them credit. Our corners, they stay prepared. They'll come up, make tackles when they have to, but they don't get beat deep don't get beat deep. So that's all on them, really, because, like I said, the biggest thing is when you get a team that runs a lot, they're going to take that shot. And then sometimes you have corners who just kind of, they fall asleep out there because it's run, they get bored because nobody's throwing at them. Then they get that big throw, and it's just like, I'm sorry, coach, I won't pay attention. But this group is totally different. Like I said, they really want to keep teams out of the end zone.
You talked about the running games that you faced all year, and it just seems like each week it's another run team, like another Georgia Tech style team. You've played Abingdon, you've played Y Central, Chilhowie, and Lebanon. Well, you're holding them to just 4.1 yards per rush. What's the difference this week against Kelly Ford and this Marion attack?
Preparation-wise, it's the same thing. We know these teams want to run, and the biggest thing defensively, when you got a team that could just line up and run the ball right down your throat, it's the worst thing that could happen. So, we preach that week in and week out. If we can't stop the run, then we're going to struggle. We want teams to throw the ball because they throw the ball, we feel like we got playmakers in the back that can make plays on the ball. That's what we want to do. And most teams that we've played, they don't want to throw it. So we can put them in situations where they have to throw it. That makes our job a little bit easier because, like I said, we got playmakers back there that can make plays on the ball.
So, us, we like to try to pump up these games. This game has a lot on the line. This is almost one that doesn't even need me or Mark to even say anything about it. But the Bearcats sit at number 5 in the 2D points ranking. They have to get to number 4 to host. Marion is actually sitting at number 4. How important is it for the team and the coaching staff to get a home playoff game? It's been a while. We've tried to look back through the record books, and we've not been able to find it yet. So how big of a chip on the shoulder How nice would it be for this coaching staff to add that to the resume?
I mean, I'll be honest. It'll be nice. I think it'll be huge for our fan base, for the family, friends and stuff to come out and support us, the student body to be out there. I think, town of Bristol really deserves, a home playoff game. But to be honest with you, we don't take that into consideration. I mean, our goal week in and week out is to win the ball game. So if it means we'll get a home playoff game, that's great. I'm not going to lie and say that we don't know that. But our goal is to win every game, win each week. So it'd be huge. But like I said, it'd be huge for our fan base, family, friends. But our ultimate goal is we want to continue to play week in and week out.
Coach Chris usually does this for me, makes my job a little bit easier for me on Friday night. 3 keys to the game for Friday.
Well, number one, of course, we got to stop forward. He's huge. He gets their offense going, so that's number one for defensively. Number two, I would say special teams. I would say that we've done a great job of getting that special team play. That's kind of turned the momentum in each game that we've won. And to be honest with you, I felt like the game that we lost against Graham, they had the big special teams play. So the special team is number two. And then number three is, of course, we want a lot of offense. So, so of course, we want Jamie and all those offensive guys to do their thing on offense. But big for us would be stop forward.
You're listening to Virginia High Bearcat football on Spreaker Radio.
Tonight we say hello from Gene Malcolm Stadium, Senior Night 2017, as Virginia High gets set to take on the undefeated Marion Scarlet Hurricanes in this late October edition of Bearcat football. I'm Dylan Hutton, and with me in the booth, Mark Carr and our statistician, Brady Malone. It's getting close to playoff time, and these two teams are jockeying around for the position to host a first-round playoff game in 2 weeks. It's one of the most anticipated games of the 2017 season. Can the Cats knock the Hurricanes off course, or will the Hurricanes keep up their storybook season? Kickoff coming up next on Bearcat Radio.
It's time for Bearcat football from the radio home of Virginia High Athletics.
Hello. Welcome to Gene Malcolm Stadium. I'm Dylan Hutton along with Mark Carr, Brady Malone doing the stats over here for us as we get set for kickoff just moments away. And the Marion Scarlet Hurricanes won the toss, so they will receive it to open up the ball game. As the Cats send out their kickoff teams, the Cats get the ball at halftime, Mark. Be a nice thing.
It will be a nice thing. I mean, like I said, well, I don't know. We talked about the trends of receiving and kicking, but I kind of lost track of where we're at in the season on those now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we had quite a rut there. We weren't able to score after half, so we'll have to see. As Jacob Failer gets set to tee it up, he'll be kicking it left to right across the field, back toward the Dollar General, back that way toward the Tennessee side of the state line.
The parking lot is still filling up. They're over towards Little Caesars
There's
now.
a great crowd over here on the home side, and they're filling in over there at the Marion side as well. By far the largest crowd we've had since the VT game. As the fans come to their feet for kickoff this afternoon. Failer is back, getting set to kick it. State Line Motors kickoff is up, and we're underway. 8-0 Marion against 6-2 Virginia High. It's fielded at the 5, returnable up past the 10, and he's hit there and dropped right outside the 10-yard line. Good coverage by the Cats as they swarm the returner there. Looked to be Kelby Ford.
You know, Austin Davidson talked about working on that spin move. Maybe he could take a couple lessons from that Marion returner there.
Yeah, Kelby Ford there tried to get through those defenders but was unable, and they start off on the 11-yard line. The Hurricanes do shotgun formation to open the game. Again, the player to watch, the running back Kelby Ford. Austin Wyatt, the quarterback, in the pistol formation.
And you got Lane Carroll playing cornerback tonight as well on the left side.
3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Ford in the backfield alone with Wyatt. put a man in motion. That is Robinson over into the backfield joining the quarterback. There's a snap, fake toss. Now they'll hand it straight away to Ford up the middle. Good tackle after a gain of close to 2 yards on the play. Still inside the